listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a successful motivational speaker and trusted life coach, Nancy knows how you can live the life you want regardless of the challenges you face. Although she's legally blind, Nancy's mission is to inspire others to overcome obstacles and live life full out. Call in at 800-333-0001 to ask Nancy for advice on topics such as relationships, finances, business, health, and more. Just call 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari. Very excited to be here with you today. And we're talking about courage. We all want to have courage in our life. It's interesting, from the earliest moments in our life, as a toddler first taking their first step, or as we journey through life, asking someone on a date, or in some cases having to leap from a time in our life when we're comfortable to the uncomfortable, to the unknown. Courage is all around us, but it's what we need in an effort to live full out. So we're going to be talking to our inspirational guest, Andrea Davis, coming up in our next segment. She's going to be talking about the courage that she needed to have to jump from a cruise ship, believe it or not, while it was sinking. It's an amazing story. You don't want to miss it. We'll also be taking your calls. Again, that number is 800-333-0001. If you're looking to bring courage into your life, take that next step in a big way to make a change occur. We're happy to be here for you and to give you that motivation that you need to take that step. Also, if you want to hear today's show again, go to livingfullout.com. Click on our radio show tab, and this episode and all of our episodes will be waiting there for you. Also, if you have a question about today's show, feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com. We want to make sure that you're supported with resources or any more motivational advice that you might need to take those courageous steps. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line, so we're going to check in with them. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Hello, can I hear? Hi, thank you so much for calling in. How can we help you today?
Yeah, I recently just broke up with my girlfriend. And the thing is that we still like each other, but the reason why we broke up is that it's just the distance is too much for us to stay together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure how to handle this because we're still talking, stuff like that, but.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if it's a good idea to keep talking to her, and I'm not sure how to handle this.
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that I feel your pain, okay? Because being in love can be the highest ride of our life, but also it can be such heartbreak when we're hurting. So I want you to know that our community is with you in what you're going through. When you're in a long-distance relationship, there's always going to be that possibility that the distance will kind of gobble up the relationship's ability to thrive. You know, you can talk every day on the phone, but there's nothing that quite replaces being in front of that person, looking in their eyes, holding their hand, right?
Yeah.
And what I'm thinking, do you love her or do you like her?
I actually don't know the difference. Is that,
okay. That's actually okay. That's okay.
I guess I'm
here's
in between.
You're in between. Okay. So what you might want to do, sounds like you've already kind of broken up. You've already kind of taken a step back. What you want to do is take this time for yourself. Take the time that you might not be talking to her as much and see if your heart misses her. But in what way do you miss her? Do you yearn for her because she was your best friend, and when you have something funny or sad that you want to talk about, she's the first person you'd want to go to? That usually falls into the love category. If you enjoy bouncing ideas off of her, if every now and then she just cracks you up, but she kind of falls more into the buddy category where, you know, it's okay if we don't talk every day. The days you don't talk to her, just fine. You know, you'll catch up with her sometime that week. that would be a friend. And so your heart needs to kind of figure that out. And the good news is, I believe that the universe, God, whatever you believe in, sometimes just takes care of things for us. It allows us sometimes to have that space. Because what if you like her as a friend, but maybe you're not in love with her? What if she were to fall deeply, deeply in love with you? Then the relationship would be out of balance again. You see what I'm saying? So It's best to kind of take this time for you and just feel out, every day. Do you think of her every day? Do you think of her once a week? And then kind of give it a month and see if the intensity for how much you're thinking of her is still there, top of your mind. Or over the course of that month, did you notice that you were able to go a couple of days without thinking of her? You kind of got busy with other things. Like I said, you'll know when you're in love because you'll have butterflies in your stomach. You'll think of that person all the time. You'll daydream about them. They'll be in your dreams, literally. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, we are talking about courage today. And you have taken such a courageous step, because calling in today and asking this question, I know one thing about you. You have a huge heart. And so there's a lot of love in that heart. You just got to figure out who's the lucky recipient of that love. Of course, parents, siblings, friends, your inner circle. But somebody's going to be very lucky to get that love. Do you get that?
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So feel free to call in anytime. We'll be thinking of you, and just be good to yourself. Let yourself have this time to heal. Give it a little space to see if you like her or love her. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for calling in. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye. Talking to that last caller, I feel that situation, and I'm sure there's many of us raising our hands going, yes, I've been there before. But it takes courage to figure out where a relationship is. Is it love or is it friendship? Do you tell somebody how you really feel? Do you put all your cards on the table? That all takes courage. So for anybody else who is dealing with those long-distance relationships or heartbreak, feel free to call in. We're here for you during this entire hour to give you that support. Now, I'm getting word that we have another caller on the line. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. Hi, thank you for joining us. Hi, how can we help you today?
Hi, I'm Josh. I was calling in because with school about to start again, I've been having some second guesses about, I guess, what I thought I'd be doing for, like major and stuff. Because I guess like all my life I've been told, because I was good at math and good at like building stuff, that I'd be like a great engineer, and I never put thought into what I'd actually want to be. That now that I'm kind of in this like subject, I'm not finding myself have any like passion for it, and I never actually thought about what I'd want to be.
Well, you know what, Josh? I am so glad you're calling in. And believe it or not, we've had other callers with the same dilemma. So you are not alone, okay? But the fact that you're courageously kind of putting your finger on the pause button, like a remote, right? Pause. You want to take a second. You want to think about your life. And just because you've taken X amount of months, years, whatever, to study engineering, it doesn't mean that that has to be your long-term career. Believe it or not, there's people that get degrees in something who don't even go on to do anything with it. My aunt got a history degree, and she went on to become a dentist. Okay? It's not that one has to match the other in terms of your studying and your career. And the great thing is, it's divine timing that this insight came to you. Because when you're a child, when you're a teenager, sometimes even in your early 20s, you are guided by your parents, your grandparents, your mentors. But at some point where you are right now, Josh, you're standing up for the first time and you're saying, this is what I want. But it's not engineering. So now it's your quest to figure out what you do want. And what I recommend is go online, do some personality tests, do some career tests. They will guide you into where your passions lie. And they will give you insights onto jobs that might be good for you. Okay? So I want to thank you, Josh, for calling in. And everybody, when we come back, we're going to be joined with our inspirational guest, Andrea Davis. Again, her story is just touching and really courageous. You don't want to miss it. It's amazing. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and we will be right back.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, but I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information, too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
It's not what I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And
then nothing. Ha 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 ha. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. A professional motivational speaker, Nancy can help you overcome obstacles and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about courage. Sometimes in our life, unexpectedly, that is when we have to stand up and embrace courage in the biggest of ways. And our inspirational guest today was a perfect example of that. Her and her husband were on a luxurious cruise over off of Italy in 2012, celebrating Lawrence's 60th birthday, when all of a sudden the cruise ship hit shore and they had to take courageous action to survive. Now, I'm going to let her tell her story as we go along in this interview, but listen up, because along the way, well, we don't all jump off cruise ships. We all do have those moments in life where we have to make a split-second decision, and her husband made great ones, and that is why she is with us today. So I'd like to welcome Andrea Davis to the show. Andrea, hi.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, welcome.
Thank you.
Andrea, first of all, I just love your accent. You could just talk for days, and I love it. So sweet. So
it's wonderful to be with you. Thank you, and I look forward to chatting with your audience.
Oh, your story, I mean, ever since I read about it, I was like, it just seems so Titanic. We just hear about how that ship sunk and all that went on with that. But let's take our audience back a bit, okay? So here you are, you're on this luxury cruise. It's Lawrence's 60th birthday. You've been cruising for 4 days, and you're at dinner. And you're at dinner with friends. You're all dressed up. But share with us what happens.
Nancy, we had the most magnificent day that in the history of our travels, this one will always be exceptionally memorable. We came back to the cruise ship with our cruise buddies that we had become friendly with in these 4 days, and we were elated. We met for drinks. We were listening to a jazz musician, sipping on wine, and eventually we said, it's time to go for dinner. We were already late, and our reservation for dinner was past time. We had just ordered our dinner, and we're really just enjoying the ambience when we ordered our dinner. And in the back of my mind, I recall hearing this extraordinary noise. When I'm asked to describe the noise, it sounds to me like a scraping, grating metal. I looked at Lawrence for a reaction, and he was vague, but within seconds, there was such chaos in this dining room seating hundreds of people. Immediately, the ship started listing, and people were screaming around us. There was pitch darkness in the dining room, and there was hot food and wine and broken bottles, glasses clanging next to each other. But honestly, all I remember is the screeching and the noise of panic.
And didn't the lights go out? Like, yes, literally, you're now in
the dining room. Was in darkness.
So how did Lawrence and you...
I do recall after a few moments and some time that there must have been an emergency generator as a dull light filtered into the area. When immediately people started scrambling to try and stampede out of this restricted area. I had kicked my shoes off under the dining room table, which always indicates to me a sign of absolute comfort. But when I stood up to try and scramble out, I remember screeching to Lawrence, grab my shoes and my handbag, which were under my chair, and with that, we started crawling out on our knees because the broken glassware and debris was still falling all over us. So we were kind of like crawling out under the dining room tables ahead of us to try and what we believed made our way to safety, although we didn't know at that time what in fact was going on.
Well, and when you finally got out of the dining room area and you were, up on the decks, the next logical step was, let's get on a boat. Let's try to get off this ship into safety. But tell us how you were making your escape at that point.
Nancy, it took us hours. We were crossing a passage of time of literally about 3 hours. We hovered around inside the boat waiting for instruction to tell us what had occurred, but we kept on hearing, attention, attention, please be patient. There's been an electrical failure which we're trying to take care of. And we waited and waited, and eventually, in a passage of time lapsed, went on. We eventually got the evacuate ship signal and started making our way to the deck where we believed that there would be a muster station and there would be emergency boats and life rafts to get us out. So we worked our way through these masses of hysterical people and injured people and blood and broken glass and shards and debris, and it was literally hours later. We got landed up on the side of the ship, which had now listed over and in fact was too high for emergency vessels to take a float and take people to safety. So through this, we then got ushered back through the sinking ship to what we believed would be the other side of the deck and expecting to find a lifeboat there. Little did we know that because they couldn't use the lifeboats on the one side, there was an extreme shortage, and there was certainly not enough lifeboats that were able to rescue the number of passengers on the ship. There was a time where we got to the front of the line, and I hoped that this was going to be our chance, when somebody turned around off the boat and screamed to us, "We have room for one more only."
Well, and actually, Andrea, right there is where I'm going to stop you, because do you get on that boat, or how do you get off the ship? That's where we're going to pick up when we come back from this break, okay? We have to take a small commercial break. And so, everybody, we're talking to Andrea Davis. This is the Living Full Out Show, and we'll be coming right back after this commercial break. Stay with us.
Listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World.
These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a trusted life coach, Nancy will help you overcome setbacks and embrace all life has to offer. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show. I am Nancy Solari, and this is Living Full Out, and we're here to help motivate you each week. And today we're focusing on the topic of courage. And our inspirational guest today, Andrea Davis, was no stranger to the courage when in 2012, her and her husband, Lawrence, had to literally have the courage to jump from a cruise ship to safety. And we're going to jump back into her story now. So, Andrea, welcome to the show. Are you still with us? Andrea, are you there? Let's
Nancy?
see. Andrea, there you are. Hi. Okay.
I am.
Well,
thank you.
You're welcome. So I just wanted to jump back into the story here. So ultimately, I know that you were not able to get onto one of the cruise ships. Unfortunately, that was not an option. And you and your husband had to make the decision to leap off of the ship and kind of take your destiny into your own hands to survive. Can you share with us about that moment, that split-second decision that you had to make?
What can I tell you? I sincerely believe that it was out of my power. It was, I became a different person. When I looked at Lawrence, he looked at me, and holding hands together, we knew it was either sink or swim. There was no ways we could remain where we were as the boat was going down We were already submerged in water. We had to leap away from the ship. And together we took this plunge of our lifetime, not knowing where we were, how far we had to swim. We did see blinking lights in the distance and clearly had hoped that there would be life on the other side of the ocean. It was dark. Middle of
now,
the
once
night.
once you jumped in, though, obviously it's pitch dark, middle of the night. You're swimming. Exactly, freezing cold, and you're swimming in this open water. And I just got to ask you, because I grew up in the shark Jaws generation. Were you afraid of sharks in this open water?
Nancy, thank you for asking this question, because I still get teased. We have to see humor in the situation, but to this day, Lawrence still laughs at me when I had the thought and the courage to bob my head up over the water and shout to him, "La, are there sharks in the water?" And having asked this question years later, I believe there had been known to be sharks, but we were in the middle of the Mediterranean and freezing cold winter. Putting into perspective, I don't believe sharks were my biggest fear.
Right. Well, and because it was so cold, and you had your own health challenges as well with your hip, I know it took every ounce of strength for you to get to the other side. And I want everybody to picture something. Lawrence and Andrea are kind of leading the charge on this, but behind you were other shipgoers that kind of leaped after you and kind of followed your lead, right?
I took the first plunge, and by setting that example, I believe people followed, and we were swimming down a stream, one after another, which I only remember hearing the splash, but I have no recollection of who these people were. There was no communication with ourselves and these people after. We eventually did get to the other side, where we had swum to what we believed was going to be land, visioning it's going to be a beach, it's going to be warm beach sand. But no, I was faced in front of me with this huge rock cliff. The rocks were cold, the edges were sharp. I had no shoes on. I had kicked my shoes off in the water, and I just remember scouring up the rocks like Superman. To this day, again, Lawrence still calls me Superman as I remember grating up the rocks. But fortunately, the stream of people behind me became a man chain, and as I scoured up, there was people pushing from the bottom until we eventually did get to the top of the surface of the rock. And
wow, I love that camaraderie. But when you turned around and for the first time you could see the ship all out of whack, sinking, what were your thoughts at that point?
Immediately my recollection was this was my first moment of fear. When we were standing on the ship, we really did not think ultimately. It was thinking of the immediate moment, left in front of right. But when you remove from the situation and look back on the sinking ship was when I first remember the immediate and extreme grief and pain in what we had experienced and what we have to face. We had no idea where we were going, if anybody even knew we were there on this freezing cold, dark, wintry, blizzard night.
I mean, it sounds so scary. I mean, thankfully, you and Lawrence stayed together. I'm sure there were people on that cruise ship that lost touch with each other, but thankfully, you were together. And I know when daybreak came, people did start to come to help. And in the days
in the later part of the night, we had heard voices in the background, and having spoken about it after, realized that the emergency had sent people out to rescue us as they'd seen the flashing blinkers from the light on our life jackets, which eventually I had got because at the time of the accident, I wasn't even able to get hold of a life jacket. We were rescued by some local people who had climbed up the other side of this cliff to help bring us down. And again, we were one by one in this chain of people on the edge of this cliff, making our way down to what we believed would eventually be safety. I recall watching one of our rescuers strip off his sweater and pick up one of the rocks and started shaving off the sleeve from his sweater. And we said, "What are you doing?" Lawrence looked down with the light from his life jacket and shouted, "Oh my God, look at your feet." I did not realize at that point, that my feet had been shredded and cut to smithereens. I was so cold and in such a different space that my feet were only at the bottom of my legs, a means to get me to safety. I had no feeling. I had no emotion through the night.
Well, and the next couple of days to follow, physically you had to heal, but also emotionally, the post-traumatic stress of the whole incident. And it's rather ironic because the next day you had to take a ferry once again to get to your next kind of holding place before you could even get back to Canada.
The ferry was just so scary for me. I recall saying to the assistant from the Canadian Embassy, "You have to send a helicopter for me. They're telling me that I have to get onto a ferry to get me back home." I said, "I can't do this." At which she answered, "Mrs. Davis, you will be fine. We're doing whatever we can to get you home safely."
Well, and they did. They did. I know that
they could. It took me a while to realize that healing was not about forgetting. It was about looking at what had happened and saying to myself, "This will never defeat me. I somehow have to turn this into a source of strength, a source of wisdom to wow me and not to allow me to wallow." So much had happened to us in such a short space of time when your life could have been taken from you at the blink of an eyelid. And here we were, and we just had so much to be grateful for. And so much power and strength to go forward.
Right. And I know that in the days, the months, the years later, you had to deal with just the recovery, both emotionally and physically. But what is so great, I want everyone to understand this, it wasn't like Andrea and Lawrence gave up cruising. In fact, you did go on to cruise again. You did not let this experience hold you back. And why do you think that is?
I'm sorry.
Why do you think that is?
It took me a couple of months until I eventually got communications via Facebook, ironically, through one of our rescuers in Italy asking me about our recovery and how we reunited with our family and that we were doing well. When I decided there and then that this is my own personal medical prescription for myself, I needed to get back to the island. I needed to get back to our rescuers to see and to hug and to touch and to walk the walk and relive exactly what we had been through during that trauma of that evening. I knew that I needed to take control of my mind, that this was my way of allowing myself to be in charge, not allowing my mind to take control of me.
Absolutely.
And
Andrea?
More tangible.
Right. And you know what? We actually are at the end of our interview. I can't believe it. But I want to thank you very much for being on today's show and just sharing with our community about your big courageous leap. And I'm so proud of you and Lawrence for doing that. And I want to thank so much for you being on the show today. Everybody, that was Andrea Davis sharing her inspirational story. Now, when we come back, we're going to be taking your calls. And again, that number is 800-333-0001. We're talking about courage today. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and we'll be right back after this break.
Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're going to jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we've got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care, people, for goodness sake.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
To be courageous in life doesn't take anything more than your will, determination, and the fire within you to want to take that leap in life. When you're courageous in life, you're reaching forward, you're clawing through the trenches, you're going through the fire, but you're going to come out on the other side with a more intensity for life, a freedom for life than you ever had before. It's all about living full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a certified life coach, Nancy can help you to overcome challenges and start living full out. Call in with questions live at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
All right, final segment of the show. I can't believe how fast this hour has gone. And today we're talking about how to tap into the courage in your life that you need to get over that challenge, to get through that tragedy that maybe occurred in your life at one time or is happening for you now. And we're always taking your calls in every show. And again, that number is 800-333-0001. In fact, right now we have a call on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hello.
Hi, thank you for calling in. Share with us what's going on.
I started living with my roommate in June, and she always brings her boyfriend over, which I'm fine with, but he stays for a really long time, like 3-4 days in a row, and I really value the friendship with my friend. But also it's gotten to the point where, like, I almost have a third roommate, and I really don't want to risk the friendship. But also I'm, like, really afraid to confront her and talk about it. So I was just, I just don't know what to say to her.
You know what? This is a tricky one. It's a sticky, tricky one, okay? Because I get it. There's a lot of factors. Let's look at what could happen, okay? Because a lot of times when we fear doing something, when we're paralyzed and we're in a place of indecision, it's because we're unsure of the outcomes. But if we look at what the possible outcomes could be, then we're not as scared because we're more prepared. We've already kind of thought it through. So if you do go to your friend and you explain to her, listen, your boyfriend's here all the time. I think he's great. Love that you guys have found each other. But, you know, this is kind of our sacred place, our safe home here. You know, and sometimes I just want to chill out. And normally I would just be chilling with you, or I'd rather chill by myself, but not chill with you and your boyfriend. With that in mind, she could say, that's ridiculous, and you guys could get into a fight, right? That's the worst case scenario. That's the one you dread, right? Okay.
Yes.
But what if you say to her all those same things, and she says, you know what? I'm so sorry. I guess we've just been spending a lot of time here. You're right. Maybe we need to go somewhere else. Maybe we need to spend more time at his place. Now, is his place an option? Does he live by himself or with roommates?
I think he has his, like, 2 roommates.
All right, there we go. We're going to share the love, okay? Just as you feel the pain and a bit of the stress of him being at your home, maybe they need to share that time, okay? So yes, he has 2 roommates, but from time to time, she may need to go to his house. Again, you're not booting him out of the home, but you're just saying, can we find a compromise? Okay? Now, the other thing is she might say, I am so sorry. I had no idea you felt that way. She might go to the place of overly apologetic. And then from there, try to really do all she can to not have him be around as much. And if he does come over, maybe they just hang out in her room only, not taking over the living room, the kitchen, and other common areas. Okay? So situation 1 is the one you fear. But option 2 or 3 would give you some of your space back. The thing is, if you don't courageously step up and express your feelings, you'll never know if option 2 or 3 can happen. Do you see that? 2 out of 3 of the options.
Yeah.
Well, but what if you ask her, what if you come to her and she gets it? And what if she makes the situation better? Wouldn't it be worth taking that risk? Right?
Yeah.
Now you're saying, like you're not sure, but remember, out of 3 options, 2 of the 3 options get you your space back. 2 of the 3 options are a compromise. It's only the one fearful option that's holding you back. When you got 2-to-1 odds, I say you go for it. If she's going to get upset with you, and if that one fearful conversation turns into an end of the friendship, you got to reevaluate whether that friendship is worth keeping. Because isn't your personal space worth something to you?
Yes.
Okay. The friendship has value also, but aren't your opinions, your thoughts, and your concerns, aren't they of value also?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So I encourage you to face that fear. Remember, you got 2-to-1 odds. 2 options are good. 1 option's fearful. But the odds are in your favor. Okay? And just come to her with that big heart that you have. Come to her in a loving way, and I'm sure she'll get it. Okay? But I want to thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Thank you. And I want to thank everybody who called into the show today. It takes courage to call in. I get that. But it's all about getting the motivation that you need to take action in your life. And we're not going to get it right all the time. But it's worth taking that risk to put yourself out there to get to the other side. I want to thank you all for listening today. If you want to hear this show again, go to livingfullout.com. If you need support beyond today's show, reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Or if you have a story that you want to share with our community, we'd love to hear from you. I also want to thank our entire Living Full Out family that puts the show together. Rich, Elizabeth, Sam. Everybody is here to support you each week. But most of all, I want to thank you for being here with us during this hour. Here's to you, living full out, and I'll see you next week.